The movie begins by showing a boy named Orion who wants to befriend a girl named Sally, but he is too scared to approach her. Not only afraid of all girls, but Orion also afraid of many things, such as being rejected by girls and embarrassed in public. During lunch, Orion eats his sandwich while secretly glancing at Sally, but when she notices him, he quickly looks away and leaves awkwardly. Despite being smart, Orion is afraid to show it in class. He also dislikes many things, including a classmate named Lisa, killer clown sewers, cell phone signals that allegedly cause cancer, infections from mosquito bites, and falling from heights. He's scared of bees, dogs, the sea, and the changing room because he is always intimidated by a schoolmate named Richie. Although he's thought of fighting Richie, but he is afraid that he might end up killing Richie and ending up in jail. Before the end of class, the homeroom teacher, Mrs. Spinoza, announced the upcoming field trip to the planetarium. She asked the students to collect permission slips from her desk because they will be going on a field trip to the planetarium on Monday. But Orion, being his usual anxious self, refused to go. He made up an excuse about his parents not giving permission. As he was leaving school, Sally greets him and invites him to sit with her on the bus during the field trip. Orion, too scared to respond, stayed silent until Sally eventually leaves, and Orion appears slightly disappointed because he won't have a chance to get closer to Sally since he won't be going on the field trip. It's not just about school and his schoolmates. Orion is also afraid that one day his parents will abandon him, even though Orion has very caring and loving parents. Back at home, Orion's mom greeted him with cookies. As he took one, he found the hidden permission slip. It turned out he hid it because of his fears, but his parents reassure him that feeling scared and nervous is normal. His mother tells Orion that he will not be embarrassed by anyone for feeling scared and nervous, as the most important thing in life is not to let fear hinder him from achieving his purposes. His father then signs the permission slip and tells Orion to go on the field trip to the planetarium. But Orion seems reluctant to do so. That night, Orion, afraid of the dark, pleads with his parents to stay by his side while reading him a bedtime story until he falls asleep. But his parents, despite Orion's pleas, refuse to stay with him, leaving his bedroom door open instead. After his parents left, Orion then turned on the lights in his bedroom. But unexpectedly, all the lights suddenly went out and Orion's bedroom became very dark. Orion immediately became scared and pulled his blanket closer, because among all the things he fears, he is most afraid of the dark. He then grabbed a flashlight, but found that the flashlight was broken, which only frustrated Orion further, and he loudly expressed his frustration to the darkness. Suddenly a black figure appeared, introducing himself as Dark. It seemed Orion's nightly screams disturbed Dark greatly. Dark explained how people's fear of him hurt him, but he cannot prevent it. He even had a long list of people scared of him, which has reached millions. Orion tried to deny Dark's existence, but Dark claimed to have been around for over 500 million years, forced into a ghostly entity that frightens and disheartens many people that he didn't ask for. Dark complains that almost everyone is afraid of him and considers him evil, even though he is just doing his job. Feeling sorry for Dark, Orion apologized, relating to being mistreated himself. When he expressed a desire to overcome his fear, Dark suggested Orion to work with him to overcome his fear of the dark. But Orion, still scared, refused the idea, hiding behind his blanket. Dark seemed disappointed by Orion's answer, but he respected Orion's decision. Before leaving, Dark warned Orion that his fears would eventually paralyze him. This made Orion think deeply about his fears, and he finally agreed to accept Dark's offer so his fears wouldn't control him. Sensing Orion's change of heart, Dark stayed and eagerly responded when Orion called him back. They shook hands, and Dark swiftly led Orion out of his room. The scene then shifted to an adult Orion, telling his daughter, Hypatia, about his past. Like her father, Hypatia also feared the dark and had a vivid imagination. Orion tried to help her overcome this fear by recounting his encounter with Dark, but Hypatia insisted the fear couldn't be changed. Despite her reluctance, Hypatia was still curious about the story and urged her father to continue. In the past, Dark was excited to show Orion the beauty of the night, hoping to distract him from his fear. But Orion, afraid of heights, kept his eyes shut, missing out on the splendor of a fireworks festival. When Dark insisted he open his eyes, Orion accidentally fell from Dark's shoulder. Fortunately, Dark caught him just in time, but they ended up arguing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Light diligently carried out his duties, bringing happiness and hope to people as they started their days. Just like Dark, Light found joy in his job, offering optimism for the new day ahead. Shortly after, Dark introduced Orion to the other night entities like insomnia, sleep, quiet, and sweet dream. However, they weren't too keen on Orion joining them. They feared that Orion might interfere with Dark's crucial work. Insomnia warned that if Dark's duties were disrupted, light would follow, leading to disastrous consequences for the universe and Dark's existence. Orion felt scared hearing this, but Dark assured him everything would be okay. He convinced his friends to let Orion join them, promising to help him conquer his fear of the dark in just one night. Reluctantly, the others agreed, but they insisted on keeping Orion away from them so the boy does not disturb their work. Dark then showed Orion how sleep operates. However, Orion's overthinking disrupted sleep's methods, because sleep uses a slightly rough method when he wants to make people sleep. Orion also mentions sleep's habit of always kissing people when they sleep for cleanliness reasons. Annoyed, Sleep scolded Orion and asked Dark to take him away. Dark then takes Orion to see how insomnia works at night, where insomnia always whispered negative thoughts to keep people awake. Seeing insomnia working to make people have difficulty sleeping, Orion questioned if insomnia also does the same to him, but insomnia denied it, irritated by Orion's judgment. He asked Dark to remove Orion, finding him too critical. Not long after, Dark guided Orion to a hill where quiet is working by absorbing the noisy sounds heard throughout the city, turning the atmosphere into silence and comfort. But Orion complained about the extreme quietness, prompting Quiet to scold them and ask them to leave so she could work. Next, they visited unexplained noises, who scared people with mysterious sounds. Noises stressed the importance of her work, warning that Orion's presence could disrupt the universe's balance and cause disaster. Seeing Orion saddened by Noise's words, Dark took him to the dream realm, where Sweet Dream gave Iron pleasant dreams. In her dream, Iron excelled in a presentation, received praise, and even got a cat from her daughter. However, Orion's mention of a past nightmare disrupted Irene's dream, which immediately angers Sweet Dream and forbids Orion to speak or think about anything in the dream realm, because those things can influence the dream. However, Orion has already been thinking about Richie, so Richie appears in the dream. The situation worsens because Richie appears in a giant form and manages to capture Dark and Sweet Dream, then locks them in a locker. As Richie about to throw Orion into the toilet, Dark urged him to think of a way to save himself, promising that his thoughts would manifest instantly. Fortunately, Orion broke free from Richie's grip, and at the same time, Dark and the others also managed to free themselves from the locker. Dark hurried to rescue Orion from the dream realm, and Sweet Dream warned them not to disturb her before leaving. Reflecting on his near-death experience, Orion felt shaken. Dark tried to reassure him, claiming he'd conquered his fear. But Orion remained afraid, especially of Richie. Dark pointed out that Orion was no longer scared of him, which excited Orion, and tells Dark that he will have a daughter in the future. The scene then shifts to the future and shows Hypatia looking surprised, because her father accurately predicted her future, believing that Orion's journey through the night with Dark has enabled him to predict the future. However, Orion insisted he was just making up stories and advised Hypatia to do the same for creating interesting tales. Hypatia confessed she wasn't good at improvising like her father and preferred listening to his stories. Upon hearing that, Orion decided to continue his tale, revealing that his nightly adventures with Dark became a regular occurrence. Over time, Orion befriended the other nocturnal entities, who accepted his help and invited him to observe their work closely. Both Orion and Dark found joy in their journey together. However, their happiness was interrupted when Dark overheard a boy crying from fear of the dark. Feeling sad, Dark confided in Orion, expressing fears about not living up to people's expectations of being scary. Orion reassured Dark, sharing how he once feared him, but had come to see his true nature. As they prepared to continue their journey, Quiet found Orion's dropped permission slip and returned it. At the same time, they spotted Light approaching. While Dark and the other nocturnal entities disliked Light, Orion appreciated his presence for bringing hope and comfort. Sensing Light's arrival, Dark hurriedly takes Orion away from that place. The scene then shifts to the future, where Orion is seen taking Hypatia for a walk at night. Orion originally intended to take Hypatia for a walk to the park near their house, but the atmosphere in the park is very dark, so Orion and Hypatia decide to go elsewhere. Amidst the bustle of the city, Hypatia asked her father if he is still afraid of the dark, and Orion admitted he did. Returning to the past, Orion hesitated when Dark led him towards a spooky house. Seeing his fear, Sleep and the others asked if he was still afraid of the dark. Instead, Orion described the beauty and enjoyment of daytime, piquing their curiosity. Suddenly, Dark appeared, looking sad because Orion seemed to prefer light and daytime over him. Orion reassured Dark, claiming they were best friends. To prove it, Dark demanded Orion show their friendship. Orion gathered the other nocturnal entities in a house to clear up the misunderstanding, asserting his friendship with Dark and his preference for nighttime. Despite his efforts, they seemed swayed by Orion's description of daytime. Even unexplained noises decided to stay and experience daytime, hoping for a job that would make her liked by many people. Dark tried to convince her to continue working at night, but she blamed him for people hating the night. Surprisingly, Sweet Dream and the others also chose to stay, hoping to be noticed during the day. They believed people could have beautiful dreams and needed sleep even in the daytime. Realizing that his workload will increase at night, Insomnia decides to join his friends rather than stay and work at night with Dark. Realizing he couldn't change Sweet Dream and the others' minds, Dark decided to leave. But he felt empty knowing he'd be working alone at night. Frustrated by people's hatred towards him, Dark sat and waited for morning. When light appeared, Orion warned Dark to leave immediately because Dark will disappear if he is touched by the light. Despite the warning, Dark stayed until light arrived, and he vanished. In the future, Hypatia was disappointed with the story's ending, where Orion was left uncertain by Dark and couldn't go home. Orion admitted he ran out of ideas and urged Hypatia to continue with her imagination. While gazing at the expanse of stars in the planetarium, Hypatia tells her father that she has an idea to continue the story, and Orion happily encourages Hypatia to tell the story. Hypatia then continues the story by appearing in front of the young Orion and telling him that without the night, people would be unable to sleep and leading to chaos. Hypatia then recites a poem describing the situation that would occur if the night disappeared. The Earth would experience daylight for 24 hours, which would gradually lead to chaos because people cannot rest and sleep soundly during the constant daylight. The atmosphere becomes too noisy and chaotic, causing frustration among people. Additionally, the world is threatened with apocalypse due to climate emergencies and major disasters if darkness is absent. In the end, Light's presence no longer liked by people because his presence only worsened the situation. After Hypatia recites her poem, Sweet Dream and the others appear and realize their mistake for neglecting Dark and the importance of darkness and night for life on Earth. Hypatia revealed to Orion that Dark hadn't truly vanished, as he existed in Orion's memories. Orion then asked Sweet Dream to access his memories, but Insomnia warned him that if he dies in the dream, he will die in real life. Undeterred, Orion insisted on bringing Dark back, so he asked Sleep to make him sleep. After Quiet absorbs all the loud noises in the place, Sleep performs his task to make Orion fall asleep, while Sweet Dream and Hypatia prepare to enter the dream realm. Inside the dream, they encountered Orion's deepest fears until they found the memory of his first meeting with Dark. But as they found Dark, a wardrobe suddenly opened, sucking everything, including Dark, into a black hole. Orion was almost pulled in too, but Hypatia arrived just in time to save him. Hypatia urged Orion to face his fears, explaining the black hole existed only in his mind. With their help, Orion attempted to rescue Dark, but they grew weak. Sweet Dream left the dream to wake Orion before he gets sucked into the black hole and dies. Insomnia and Noises try to wake Orion up, but their efforts are in vain, until Quiet finally whispers to Orion about the field trip, and surprisingly, Orion wakes up immediately as he remembers Sally. As Orion wakes up, at the same time, Dark appears and night returns. Not only Orion and his friends are happy because Dark returns, but Light and the people also seem relieved and happy because the long-awaited night has finally returned. Sweet Dream and the others finally realize how important Dark and the night are, as well as their work, and decide to stay with Dark and continue their work as usual. Dark escorted Orion and Hypatia home, expressing gratitude to Orion for seeing him differently and considering him a best friend. Orion thanked Dark for helping him conquer his fears, and Orion also informs Dark that he will join the field trip and try to muster the courage to chat with Sally. Before parting, Orion and Hypatia hugged Dark, who then surprised Orion by revealing Hypatia as his daughter from the future. Hypatia explained she came from the future, leaving Orion shocked yet relieved to know he had a daughter and reached adulthood safely. However, they faced the problem of sending Hypatia back to the future, with no solution in sight. Luckily, a boy named Tycho appeared with a time machine. After defeating some monsters that blocked their path, Hypatia and Tycho finally managed to reach the time machine and return to the future. Back home, Orion warmly welcomed Hypatia and greeted Tycho, recalling their meeting 20 years ago. In the future, an adult Hypatia listened to her son's imaginative stories about time machines and monsters, realizing Tycho and the time machine were his creations. This concluded the story of Dark with a happy ending. Later, Hypatia urged her elderly father to sleep, but Orion wanted to stay and enjoy the night sky. His wife joined him, and the film ended with them admiring the stars. The scene then shifted to the past, showing Orion and Sally enjoying the starry sky together at the planetarium. The moral message that we can learn from this film is that if you are a coward, try to befriend the darkness because you might meet cool night entities that can help you marry your crush, and maybe your daughter might help you from the future.